Morning. It's morning when I'm filming this. Okay, as you can see, we're just going to get right into this. As you can see from the title, probably in the thumbnail, so many spoilers in those two things. You can't surprise anybody nowadays. Anyway, I've been working with the Barbara Walker Tarot, okay? Now, I've been working with this, I started working with it like towards the end of the spooky season, so like a few days before Samhain, and then I've been picking it up like when I feel called over the last 2 months, okay? Because right now we're in December of 2021. And it's such a little, I mean, it's in a 10, so this version is so tiny. And I am not, after working with this, it's the only 10 version I have, like the only mini thing I've got, mini deck. Actually, that's not true. I got the Wayward Dark, which is a like dark thoth, which I freaking love the images on that. And it came tiny like this. So eventually I'll probably get the 1986 version, which is I mean, the borders are still really huge on it, but it's a bigger card. And I don't even care about the borders. I feel like I need the bigger card. You know? I'm a big girl. I give big love. I want some big love, you know? I don't want this tiny shit. I digress. So I kind of pulled out some cards that, I mean, technically I pulled them out consciously. Like I didn't pull them out in a reading. But they've been like stalker cards. They've been cards that I keep like wanting to look at. So they've been like the cards that are in the deck, and I know that are in the deck, and I keep getting pulled to like pull them out and look at them. So I figured I'd take y'all along on that journey today. You know, a moment in time with Lennon with the Barbara Walker Tarot. Because a lot of us, and no shade, okay, no offense, I love all you guys. And if y'all need any help loving the tarot community, go watch this video by Candy. You will be crying before it even really gets started. There was so much love involved in that, in the making of that video, and then in the final product. It was such a labor from her. It was almost like she had written us all a card, you know? And so if you need any help loving the tarot community, go watch that video. But no shade, but a lot of us, we work with decks, but we just show surface level stuff, and that's great. A lot of us just want to see the lists with the tags that come out. Like recently I did 7 Deadly Sins by Sylvain, and all of that is beautiful stuff. Like just give us a little bit onto which deck goes here and which deck you would put in this category and stuff like that. We all love those videos, you know. But sometimes on my channel, I like to give a little more. And it's only because when I work with the tarot, I come upon things that I want to share with someone. And I don't have someone in my life to be like, oh, check this out. Look what I pulled today. I don't have that somebody. So I guess I could do that on Instagram. But that damn platform, I have like a hate-love relationship with. Like sometimes I get gung-ho and I post and post and post. And then other times I'm like, oh, I just cannot be bothered to like edit another damn picture. What you see is what you getting right now. So anyway, I'm putting this chunk back down. I want to say that the 2 handfuls, okay, of cards that I've gotten, for me, they are vibes. All of them. For some reason, the colors used and in some instances, the court cards are actual people from mythology, but 1980s mythology and how they taught mythology and what was actually factual back then may be different now. I'm just going to say. We know a lot more about the Morgan. We know a lot more about Caradwyn, we know a lot more about Bridget and Frigga, and we know a lot more about these beings from mythology than they did back in the 80s. I think, from just the way that she wrote this guidebook, the little white book. But vibes, guys. Okay? Like, this is Dagon. And this is the Prince of Wands. Now, this particular figure is half man. No. Third man. Two-thirds beast. 3/3 fish. Like merman. Because he's got a tail. But he's sitting on the altar that is a sun and moon altar. And someone's, you know, of course, there's a worshiper here. But look at the fire in the background. It's almost like there's this ring of fire. In the center, there's this, that looks like a magnet to me. Like this giant magnet. And then this guy is this like statue on top. Because this figure here, to me, is not naked. Therefore, I don't believe that this is any kind of priest or priestess. This is just an everyday person, you know? It's not someone that's actually holy. But for it to be the Prince of Wands and this balance that I see here between this sea, like this merman, half, I think she references it as like a half fish, half man, even though the damn thing has horns. So it's technically something else going on. But this mythological, you know, minotaur mermaid is the Prince of Wands. And to me, I guess I just got vibes with that. It's almost like, this card suggests like the unconventional. Like, this isn't conventional, you know? It just isn't. The next one is another court card, and this is the King of Wands. So we had the Prince of Wands, this unconventional consort of a Targus, okay, which is not in this stack, but she is so cool in this deck. So we have the Prince, but then we have Valraven, right? And it reminded me so much of a story that I was going to share with you guys. So I have a grocery store, okay? Usually if you live somewhere, you have like 1 or 2 grocery stores that you go to buy food, all right? And there is this stock boy that works there, okay? And he's got to be young, okay? Like really young. I mean, like, I'm in my 30s. So I would guess that he's no more than 21 or 22. Possibly even younger than that. And he's got this hair that looks exactly like this, okay? Just kind of shaggy, you know, but straight. And he stocks the shelves, okay? I've never had a conversation with this guy. But sometimes I'll pass by, blah, 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 blah. I mean, okay, I've been going to this grocery store for years because I've been living here for years. And I always seem to notice him, you know, like, I always seem to, my head, something about me just always tends to like be like, I'll look right over at him. And then at the moment that I look over at this guy, he looks up at me. And you know how like when you are staring at someone, you want to immediately look away because you don't know that guy, you know, you don't know that person. It's like, I don't know him, so I can't keep staring at him. It's almost like it's like this societal thing. But neither one of us look away. I mean, there's no kind of like tension, okay? It's not like that. But this guys, this guy has the blackest eyes I've ever seen. Like inhuman almost. His eye color is almost inhuman. They are black. And I mean, his pupil is as black as his iris. Like, they're the same color. And I just find myself engrossed in his eye color when I stare at him, right? And of course, he's staring at me because he's like, what you staring at me for? So he's staring back, right? But I call him Hades. Not to his face. But in my mind, I call him Hades because there's just no way that he can be human, you know? Like, I don't feel anything, okay? It's not like a feeling per se. It's more like I get this tingling in the back of my neck. Like, right before all the hairs stand up. It's like that. It's like if you don't look away, all your hairs are going to stand up. And then right about that moment, I look away. But there's that niggling, right? And I'm like, you can't be of this world. You have to be some kind of entity, you know? Like, are you really here? You know? It's like I'm scared that one day I will be looking to see if someone actually talks to him. Like, if no one talks to him, he's a ghost, you know? He's an actual god. But I don't know. Something about Valraven makes me think of this dude. But I am going to read the description of Valraven to you, or the last sentence, okay? This king is credited with a hot, energetic, active nature, powerful, hard to control, attractive, but possibly dangerous. Does that not sound like Hades? And the fact that it reminds me so much of my demon stock boy. I don't know what the hell to call him, but it's just a cool experience that Lennon's had, you know, in the Walmart. And maybe it could just be that grocery shopping sucks, you know, and that you have to find, your mind is finding something to focus on other than how many carrots you need. Anyway, I'm going to go faster, I swear. Okay, Elaine is the Princess of Cups. There is something about this priestess looking figure here. She's in a temple. Like I said before, she's got her, you know, oil burners back here with the fire. But then she's got this cauldron where someone's throwing a human in. And the guidebook speaks of sacrifice, this card being sacrificial in nature, this card being about when you go to worship something for reverence sake, there's an aspect of sacrifice that is still relevant. Whether you're shedding things of yourself, whether you're sacrificing things that need to be let go instead of an animal, you know, or something of that nature, whether it's something that they would sacrifice back in the day, whatever that is now, whatever you've morphed that into, is still relevant in terms of worship. And I really liked that take in the guidebook about how when we present ourselves to the temple of our spiritual practice, there's still a sacrifice that is demanded of us. The 10 of Swords, right? This ruinous, oppressive card. Now this apparently is the Morrigan, and this is the Martyr. Now the Martyr, in cases of the hero's journey or whatever, is usually the hero, and they've gotten to that place where the only thing left for them is death, and to kill themselves in a sacrificial way. Let themselves be killed, I guess. They let themselves be killed so that the cycle of life can continue. And it's about allowing the ruination. Allowing the goddess to take over. Allowing the raven to send you the message, right? Because her little raven, the Morrigan's raven, is like sitting up on that post. And the Morrigan's raven swoops down and you see it and you're like, and it's almost like your omen of death, right? And you, in that moment, that precious moment, you bow your head and you go, okay, I'm done. It's like, this card reminds me of like, that this card would mean let go and know that you're done. Know that you are finished. You could have been in the middle of something, but you're done. Let go and let goddess, you know? I love it. Now, the 8 of Wands in almost every deck is my favorite. they tend to be a lot of boring shit that happens in the swiftness card, except in Crowley's, because rainbows. But in a lot of renditions, especially ones that have mythology, have the Pegasus. Also, can we just ask the question, the elephant question? Where did all the men that wear Speedos go? Because I feel like that's stuck back into, that's stuck somewhere in time in the Baywatch. Where did these men go? Isn't he awesome looking? This swiftness card is called the Fall. And in the guidebook, it talks about the hero is riding the Pegasus. Okay, they call it the moon horse, which, the moon horse, he falls off of it, and all of his wands fall swiftly into a barren landscape. Is it just me, or does that sound like an innuendo? My 8 rods have landed in a barren landscape, Anyway, now here is something that I want to talk about, because a lot of people have, all right? A lot of people have. I'm going to compare the Empress card with the 9 of Pentacles, okay? Here is the 9 of Pentacles. Accomplishment, right? We usually see this like very decorated lady with a bird, whatever. She's already cultivated and done what she's going to do, and now her only job is to just kind of keep the weeds out of her plush garden, okay? This happens to be a pregnant Mary. But this is Ganesha. So they've kind of tied in Indian mythology here. And all of this is her accomplishment. But anyway, so we have a pregnant, I think the only pregnant figure in this deck is in the 9 of Pentacles, and not, because we've been talking about this in the tarot community, right? The Empress. Look at this hot, sexy thing right here. She's regal. She's skinny. Okay? Which by that I mean not pregnant. And this card with this beautiful svelte blonde non-pregnant woman figure in the Empress card is lazily laying on her stone chase being regal AF, and she doesn't have to be pregnant. She's like, bitch, I'm the Empress. I don't have to do shit but lay here. And of course, she's got all these symbols like the lilies and the pomegranates and the doves, right? And the white horse, which the white horse goes back to Maca, which is another version of the Morrigan. But she's like sitting next to a waterfall. The only thing missing here is that she's not got her like grapes. She's not like eating grapes. But there's such a regality to this particular rendition of the Empress that I appreciate. Standing in your power. Recognize your sovereignty. It does not have anything to do with pregnancy. Okay, there's nothing wrong with pregnancy, but I just like that in this particular deck, it's an accomplishment instead of being synonymous with your sovereignty. 3 more cards. Oh, I did want to just mention that this is the Nimue card. This is an Earth Priestess card. The Princess of Pentacles is someone that is using Earth, the planet, okay, to their advantage in their spiritual practice, in their priestess work. And she just happens to be doing some magic at Stonehenge, right? This Nimue, who was the consort of Merlin. But I bought the deck for this card. One card. I didn't give a shit what the other cards were. I bought it for this one card, Nimue, because she's like one of my favorite all-time archetypes in literature and in mythology. I just love her, I love everything I've ever watched or read about her. And I love that she's a crone here. I love that kind of ties into her ability to shapeshift. But the way that this was depicted in the book about her doing magic in Stonehenge, but using the power of the elements that are present on the planet, makes her an earth priestess. I was like, oh, yes. So, the last three, I think this is Odin. This is the Norns. And I like how the Five of Swords depicts the Norns instead of the Wheel of Fortune card. Like, I like how it could be so, it kind of wiggles around. But because I think that the tarot is like, it can be like that. I think that in this, Odin is sitting here on the world tree and he's bleeding down from his wound. And when the blood drips down, the Norns have turned that like a spinning wheel into the red thread. The spinner, the measurer, and the cutter. And y'all know, if y'all have been watching me, that the three fates, the Norns, the Morai, all of those are sacred to me. They are sacred. This concept of fate. And the fact that they're using Odin's blood, like, so this Five of Swords is called defeat. But to me, this card is blood magic, whatever that entails. They are using the blood of something, of a god, okay? They're using God's blood, divine's blood, to map the fate of the entire world. Also, Odin in the Speedo. Can we just look how beautiful he looks in his, how do I do this? Oh, there we go. In his Viking helmet and his whitey tighties. I don't know. Last two. These are probably, aside, other than Nimue, these are probably my favorite cards in the deck. Power, the Ace of Wands. I just love this. Now you guys know that I am a dragon girl. I basically am a dragon, like, I don't even know, priestess, I would say. Dragon witch. And this priestess, now the guidebook calls her a virgin priestess, but I don't like how they call her a virgin priestess and she's wearing red. I don't like that. In terms of symbolism, it just doesn't work, okay? Are you a virgin or not? Okay, because she needs to be wearing another color if she was a virgin. So to me, a virgin goddess doesn't make sense. This is someone that's in touch with her, that part of herself. And so to me, this would be more along the lines of Lilith or one of the Babylon priestesses that actually conjured up dragons. Or Tiamat to an extent, even though Tiamat was the dragon. But I've thought a lot about this, and this is power. And apparently she's on top of this mountain, this priestess, and she is literally summoning the dragon from the depths of, I guess, the volcano. And when he gets summoned, he's holding her wand. How beautiful is that? Can I conjure you? And then when I need you, you just spit out the wand. I grab that damn thing. I'm using the dragon fire that is inside of you, that you've put inside my wand, and then I'll use that fire to do my bidding. Getting a little heated here. In a good way. Anyway, last card. Charity. The Six of Pentacles. Okay? Now, apparently, this is a concubine. And they do kind of reference Mary Magdalene. This is one of Mary Magdalene's concubines. Which, of course, back in the day, okay, literally, Mary Magdalene was the prostitute that Jesus took under his wing, right? Maybe even consorted with. But I'm not going to talk about that, okay? With it being a concubine And her laying there, she's laying there on her chase, almost like she's just finished working, I guess is the term. She just finished working. She's, you know, she's sleepy, okay? Because who wouldn't be? But she's already kind of done her job, right? That was, I guess, her job. But then there's this hunchback down here that was playing a lyre. And my immediate thought was, maybe he was playing a ballad or serenading her and this lover of hers while they did their thing. But because he's a hunchback, it was like that was his job. So she was doing her job, he was doing his job, and she liked his music so much that she gave him some coins, right? And this took me back to my childhood when I watched The Hunchback of Notre Dame for the first time, and how utterly furious I was at Esmeralda for not loving Quasimodo. I wanted so bad for her to love him back. Because I felt that. I felt his love for her. I felt his need for a companion in that way. And then at the end, when, you know, even the book, at the end, you're like, so what? He's a hunchback, so he has to be alone for the rest of his life? I don't fucking think so. I was so mad. And, I mean, the cartoon was no different. You know, he's just furious. And this card just, it gave Quasimodo some love that I needed to see. I needed to see Quasi getting some love. And even if he did his job, she was doing her job, and they're this exchange of charity, okay, because that's what the key word is. And I feel like that's what this is. But the fact that it's a hunchback, I'm like, love him. You know, like they because of how low on the societal, I guess you could say, spectrum, him being a hunchback. So society would think that he's not lovable. He's not able to feel those things. You know, they would shun him. But then they would also shun her because she's a concubine, you know. And people have been shunning sex workers for fucking millennia. And it's almost like they banded together and worked together to make that dough. And I am fucking proud of them. You know? They are standing in their power right now. Even though he's down here looking like he's, you know, almost like in reverence to her. But I don't see it that way. I see it like, hey, look, it's time for me to get paid. I did my shit, you know. You already did your thing. It's time for me to get paid too. And it's almost like this reciprocity that I see here, that I love that they're living the as fuck life. And I love them so much. So, God, we've been on for so long. I don't know if I'll be able to even edit this damn thing down. But if you're with me to the end, leave something that would suggest Quasimodo down in the comments. Like a bell, because he rung the bell. I don't know, something that suggests that you made it all the way to the hunchback scene from Lennon. And that was just a little bit of my Barbara Walker moment, even though these were a whole bunch of moments. So, let me know your thoughts if you've been working with this deck. I know Sylvain has been, he worked with it a while ago, and he shares some of his findings too, so I'll leave his channel link below. And then, of course, go check out the Sinful Tag that I was a part of, because a whole bunch of people have been doing it now. And I'll leave that tag below too. Just go and watch them all, because they're so good. So, hope to see everyone again on the channel. Much love.